Welcome back to my channel. My name is Karina. If you're new here, welcome. It's fun over here. You're gonna want to subscribe, but I'm gonna leave that for you to decide at the end of this video. And if you like this video at the end, also give it a thumbs up, okay? So anyways, let's get straight into the video. Mental health is so important. I am someone that honestly suffers from mental health. I have literally been diagnosed with anxiety and depression. It's been one hell of a journey because like I recently got diagnosed with it and then I lived life ignoring my diagnosis and it took a toll on me, and now it's like, you know, after my car accident, like I just like basically went back to rock bottom. But it wasn't as bad as the first episode of depression that when I first got diagnosed with depression anyways. I didn't feel as low as I did then this time around. I'm not depressed anymore, thank the Lord. I just wanted to put that out there. I want to talk about my experience with mental health, meds, therapy, and so much more. So I, back in 2017, got diagnosed with depression. I had major depression. I'm trying to tell y'all a little bit of my experience without really like giving too much details. So I'm sorry. I want to be vulnerable, but I don't want to come on the internet and sabotage people. My depression first started when like 2017, I think. I don't really like to remember these moments of my life, so I'm not good with like date keeping and stuff like that. I first got diagnosed with depression shortly after my son's father and I broke up, so that's when it all started. That like triggered everything for me. I was a new mom. Like my son was like probably like 6 months old, and you know, like my hormones from being a mother in general was like all over the place, plus the fact that like I had to literally deal with the biggest fear of my life was to be a single mom. Like I never wanted that for me ever. I had to face my biggest fear of becoming a single mother, my hormones from being a newly mom, and also, you know, suffering from depression. And mind you, I've been suffering from depression even before my son's father and I broke up. I remember like having episodes of like where I used to cut myself, like I used to have scars on my skin, and people would be like, what's going on? And I would just make up any random excuse or just walk away from the conversation in general. I didn't really want to share it. Like I have a problem with vulnerability. All my life I've been like that. But so yeah, I wouldn't entertain people and answer people's questions when they will ask me about my scarring. I'll just be like, oh, whatever, and just keep it pushing. And you could fairly say that I was depressed prior to, if I'm cutting myself. And like I said, I didn't get diagnosed with depression until after DJ came to the picture. So DJ's my son, by the way. I managed to like fight my depression on my own. I got medicated. I got admitted to a psych ward. It was really difficult. It's really difficult for me to even talk about it till this day, because like I don't like to remember those moments of my life. I really don't. I got admitted to a psych ward, and when I got admitted to a psych ward, I won't lie, like that was my moment of like where I humbled myself. I was like, you know, like life freaking stink, but I'm not crazy. All these people in the psych ward are literally nuts, like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Nuts. Like they're crazy. They're talking to the wall, they're talking to their self, they're like angry with the air. Like you just see them doing a lot of weird stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just overly sad. I'm not crazy. Like I don't belong here. So I did what I had to do to get out the institution, right? The psych ward. They made me take meds there. I didn't like the meds. I took it because they were telling me that if I don't take it, I'm not going to be discharged from the psych ward. And I was like, you can't keep me hostage for medication that I don't want to take. And so it was a back and forth thing, but like, you know, like overall I was still showing that I was putting in effort, that I don't belong there. I got discharged. I probably stood in the psych ward for maybe a full week, and that felt like jail, to be honest. I've never been to jail before. Like I've never been arrested. I never ever experienced any such thing, right? Thank the Lord. But it felt like jail. Like I had a scheduled time of when I had to be up out of my room, when I had to eat, when like it was just annoying. Then you got vital signs that they gotta take. It was just annoying. Like 7 days felt like a lifetime. Like it felt so long. It was the most horrible experience I have ever experienced, which is why I tried to forget it. I'm here to talk about it because I'm hoping that my story can help somebody someday. You know, like It's not always peachy and creamy. And a lot of people say that I have a great spirit, you know, like I look like I don't go through anything in life. I probably had one of the worstest battles of life. If I only sat down and tell you everything I've been through, like you guys would be like, wow, I couldn't believe it. But that's a story for another day. So with my experience of mental health, I managed to get out of the psych ward, and now I have to see a therapist. Therapist is not talking about nothing that I'm going through. It's just straight intake. Every appointment that I had, and I had probably like a good handful, a good 5 sessions. Every 5 sessions was intake, bro. Like, when am I gonna get the chance to pour my heart out? Because like literally I am like pre-suicidal at that point, right? I was pre-suicidal. I'm ready to end my life. I'm in the psych ward. I faked it till I make it, but I'm still needing help. So that's when I decided to stop going to therapy. I was like, I don't need freaking therapy. I don't need help from these people. I need Jesus. So I literally went to church. I started going to church. I had this coworker that invited me to her church, and I was going to her church, and like I felt a little better. And eventually I felt good enough that I stopped going, because I'm like, okay, I don't think I need church support anymore. I can do it. I can do the rest on my own. That's where I messed up at. Because like, hello? Jesus was like, excuse me? Like, what? You don't need me. So he humbled me again later on during the years, which was literally this year. You know, there's a lot that's been going on in between that era, 2017 to 2024. We're in 2024, right? There's a lot that has been going on where like I'm literally up and down with anxiety and depression, but it's manageable. My car accident was unmanageable, just to say the very least. I'm trying to keep the story very short and minimum and sweet, because I don't think a lot of y'all care to go into the details of how I was feeling. That triggered my depression so bad. A lot triggered me during that stage, or like the car accident. And financially, that's like, I've never been in a financial situation that bad in my life. Like, I've always been so financially responsible. Like, it's always been hard. It's always been hard. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's always been hard financially for me. But I have never been that low financially in my life until after my car accident. Because I'm a single mom. I have to do everything by myself. I don't have any support. My son's father does not help me. He doesn't even pay for child support. So I've always handled mine. First of all, since the moment I graduated high school, I've always had a job. And I've always been very financial responsible. Like, even when I was irresponsible financially, like, I would still not put myself in a situation to literally feel like the way how I felt this year. So, like, that bro, where I felt like I was gonna lose everything that I ever worked for, this apartment, my car, like everything I ever worked hard for. I felt like I was in the verge of losing. Like, God was like, I could take this away at any minute. Play with me if you want. And I was like, oh no, I don't want that smoke, Jesus. So I literally dove into victim mode. Like, I was like, why is this happening to me? Why everything always bad happens to me? I don't have nobody here. I literally was on straight victim mode. It was horrible. It was so horrible. But then I was like, you know what? Like, no, we're gonna boss up. It's like I had an inner voice in me that was like, no, we're gonna boss up. This is just a little bump on the road, Karina. And I remembered my life for a quick second, and I'm like, you know, I've come from the very ghetto of Mitchell Project houses, okay, to where I am now. God didn't bring me this far to take me back to where I came from. So I was like, no. This is just a reminder that we gotta get back on our grind. We gotta get back on our Zoom, because I ain't gonna lie, I fell off of YouTube. I was dealing with, like, I don't want to say it like that, but I was dealing with different men at different points of my life. Like, every year I dealt with one different guy, and it would be prolonged for so long, but I would learn a lot of lessons. But in between learning those lessons, I was being hella distracted. Like, I was not prioritizing my YouTube channel, which is something that I really am really passionate about. Like, I really care about my YouTube channel. So I was like, yeah, we need to get back on that. We need to stop focusing on men, because men are a huge distraction, and none of them were able to make me their girlfriend. So it's like, I'm sitting here catering and like putting them before my goals, and they're not even making me their girlfriend. Like, what? That's when I was like, who's the fool here? Who's the clown? Like, it's you, sis. You need to work on you. After my car accident, like, I really was on some victim mode. And, you know, depression is literally a victim mentality. I'm not gonna lie. Some people literally have chemical imbalance in their brains where they cannot function and they cannot, like, you know, they can't help but to be sad for no reason. My depressions are being triggered by events that happen in my life. There are events that happen in my life that cause me to be depressed. First of all, therapy is not, it's not that therapy is not for everybody. It's just that therapy is like dating. You need to date your therapist. Like, you need to look for your therapist, the one that's for you. So I started going to therapy. They diagnosed me with depression and anxiety because this is when I got like diagnosed with anxiety. I already knew I had anxiety, but this is when I got diagnosed with anxiety, was this year. And it was like, oh yeah, you have depression and anxiety. And so I was like, I don't want to take meds. They recommended meds and they recommended therapy. My psychiatrist, my therapist actually, she was like, you need to see a psychiatrist and they could tell you more. But I can give you meds for depression and anxiety. And I was like, I don't want to take meds. Because like when I took meds the first time I got diagnosed with depression, those meds made me feel like I was psychotic. Like there was something wrong with me. I was just like, ugh, stuck on stupid. So I was like, no, I'm not getting on meds to be looking like the people on the psych ward. That's not how my story ends. So I was like, no, thank you. What other work could I do to cure this depression and anxiety? I know that there's no cure to depression and anxiety. You just basically learn to manage it. But it doesn't go away, ever. So basically, they just told me to work on my coping mechanisms. They have like mindfulness, breathing techniques, and other stuff that you could do when you're angry, when you're feeling anxious, when you're sad, when you're, you know, whatever feeling you're feeling, to break out of that. So I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little lazy. I got a lot going on in my life. I don't even have time to respond to text messages. You think I have time to sit down for 5 minutes and breathe? No, I mean, I should really try it, but I don't have time for that. And realistically, I'm not going to do that. I'm not in that mindset when I'm ready to do it. But I ended up giving into the meds she prescribed me and was like, we can start you off with a low dosage. They always say that. They always say, start you off with a low dosage. And so, yeah. I took it because I was starting to affect, my depression and my anxiety was starting to affect my son. Like now he's very anxious. And I feel like, cause like my son, when I went through my car accident, like I had a big downfall and he like literally saw me at my worst. And my son has never seen me at my worst. Even when I was like worse than that, he was too little to remember. So now it's like, damn, did I just traumatize my kid? I think I did. I'm gonna be honest, I think I traumatized my kid. And I'm sorry, I did not mean to do that, but I literally felt like I shattered, like I broke into a million pieces. Like I'm like, damn, like I reached rock bottom. And it makes me so emotional talking about it because I really hate remembering that feeling. But I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. Yeah, that probably was the second time actually, because I remember crying, but those were tears of joy in front of my son. But this one, I remember I came home and I just like, I was crying. I was woohoo crying. Like I was crying like a little baby, like, like I was crying. And my son, I woke him up with my crying and he's like, what happened? And then I'm sad, I'm devastated, the car is messed up. And yeah, that's the first time my son ever seen me broke down crying like that. So I definitely could not control like not being able to be emotional at that precise moment because the car accident was very impactful. Even though I didn't get injured, that was the most impactful car accident I ever had. I had minor car accidents, like little bumps, but that one was like, and then it was head on, so like head to head collision. And then it's like the person left, so I couldn't even, I could have followed, right? But I'm still in shock. So I'm like, what the heck just happened? It was just horrible. And I just came upstairs crying, hysterical. And now my son won't ever forget that. And so I need to get him therapy. We're working on it. But I gotta work on me first before I can even work on him, right? Like, I'm trying to help him out, but I really gotta pour into myself first, because we're feeding off of each other's anxiety and it's not good. So yeah, I started taking the meds, and then I had to see a psych doctor. You know, they make you see a psych doctor because, well, actually they made me see a psych doctor because they really do think my therapist really does think that I have ADD. And I actually have my appointment next week to find out if I have ADD. So I'm gonna come back and let y'all know. It's not something that I'm trying to like excited about. It might look like I am, but I'm just honestly excited to find out everything that I need to work on. Because like, if I know I have anxiety and depression, I can't keep running away from it, because it makes me more anxious and depressed. Like, embrace it. It's a part of me, and I'm sitting comfortable understanding that, you know, I have to be medicated for this. But since I started the medication, I honestly been feeling the best that I ever felt. So like, it's not that bad once you accept your diagnosis, right? I don't know who needs to hear this, but there's somebody out there that has a diagnosis that they're shameful of. Because I was shameful of it. I'll be honest. I was shameful to be depressed and to have anxiety. People make fun of people with like mental illnesses. They make fun of those people, and I don't think that's anything funny. And as a matter of fact, the more I realize that I suffer from depression and anxiety, the more I realize that I'm not the only one. Like, there's literally like a high number of people in a room. Just say, hypothetically speaking, a room of 10. I'm sure there's a good 7 of us that have anxiety and depression. We just are not diagnosed. Recently, I got diagnosed with bipolar depression, and I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I honestly don't like the idea of being labeled bipolar, because I don't feel like I act bipolar, even though my family has always joked around and told me that I'm bipolar. You know, it's just like, okay, well, now is my reality. I guess you gotta be careful. Like, I guess it's true when people say be careful, because the tongue is a powerful thing. So basically, I'm not bipolar. Like, I'm just like a type of person that goes through like really high highs and very low lows, which is very true. Because like, when I'm good, I am all the way up there good. But when I'm down, my depression kicks in. Oh baby, it's hard to get out of that. That's like a very bad funk that I really don't like to entertain. But it's just like I said, like, I don't have any control of it. Like, I try my hardest. It's gonna keep happening, you know? It doesn't go away. You just learn to manage it. So being on the meds have literally transformed my life in great ways. You know, I'm not gonna share which meds I'm on, but if you guys are interested to know, I don't mind sharing it. But like, I don't want to just throw out information out there, personal information, and you guys don't even care about it. If I'm not a gatekeeper, I will always share, but I don't want to put all my personal information. If you want to know, let me know, and I will definitely share that with y'all. It has transformed my life in a way where it's like, I literally feel the most balanced ever. Like, I've never been so emotionally balanced till just recently, and it feels great. I'm like, is this ever gonna go away? Like, I know nothing is permanent. I wonder if I'm supposed to be this balanced for the rest of my life, as long as I take this medication, of course. And that's something that I don't really know where I sit with. When I started taking my medication, I told myself that it's just gonna be temporary. Like, I just needed to get myself there, and then I'm going to continue to put in the work, even regardless of whether you are on meds or not, for depression and anxiety and bipolar, because I am on both. But either which way you put it, like, honestly, I had the intentions of just starting it with meds and then eventually stopping and just continuing to put in the work. But regardless of whether you're on meds or not, you're going to always need to put in the work, because the medication for anxiety and depression, it just allows me to be in a better mood, but it doesn't make me genuinely happy. Like, there were days where I was still sad, but I was just like, okay, I'm sad, but it doesn't feel that bad. It doesn't feel so dooming, if that makes sense. So yeah, like, you always got to do the work. And so, like, regardless of always putting in the work, whether you're taking the meds or not, it's just like, I don't really want to, like, I don't like the idea of taking meds forever, you know? Like, I want to just do it to help myself get right, and then I can continue to do what I'm doing, do the things that I'm implementing to help me with that. So yeah, that is my experience with my story of depression and anxiety and bipolar. Imagine having ADD. That is a lot going on in my brain. I just thought about that. Like, imagine, that's a lot. Like, it's no wonder why I behave the way I do, because like having anxiety and depression and then bipolar and possibly ADD, that's a lot. Like, that is way too much for anyone to handle. And that's how I know that I'm gonna be God's favorite child, because he gave me a really like a hard package deal. So I know that my reward is gonna be great. Like, y'all just wait and see. But anyways, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.